So today we wanted to tell you the story of how we ended up with the boat.
When we had this eureka moment, it was all of these things just went, why don't you get a boat?
Where's the engine room?
It's finished!
Welcome to Cruising Alba.
We invite you to join us on our adventure living off-grid and travelling the UK canal network. I'm Miles.
And I'm Marina. Last week, we ran out of water, spotted real flamingos on the canal, found a beautiful place to spend the rest of the lockdown, made a planta, and finished painting the mushroom vent. Today is our boat anniversary. We've been living aboard for 1 year. It's been a year of learning, discovery, many hours spent making and keeping fire, and trying not to get upset because it's just not working. We know Alba, our boat, so much closer now. We definitely learned that we can live harmoniously together in 62 feet of space without killing each other.
Okay. Oh no! I think they're almost done. Hold on. Look at the last one. Oh no! Oh, we're gonna cross the pond. Oh! It's finished! Oh no!
Literally half a second.
Literally half a second. We tried.
We didn't want to give up. The next day, just before 5, we rowed across the canal and waited for the sprinklers to come on. Turns out they were not on the timer at all.
This is what golf course is made out of.
While we're waiting, I let my mind wander. In lockdown, we no longer need to move our boat every 2 weeks. So it's a new experience for us being in one spot for this long. We get to know our neighbours and the local area, and it's nice to be a part of this community, even if it's only from a few meters away and for a couple of months. Maybe we could even work out the sprinklers.
We're going for a sunset walk.
There's a place I have found in the shade on the ground, far from all worries and troubling sound. When I go there to be by myself, only me, no one can guess what I came there to see.
We watch the sun disappear on the horizon, showering us in golden light. It is just another day in paradise. Actually, not quite. We're still having engine problems.
So the core plug is still leaking. We haven't fixed it, obviously.
No, we did.
No, we fixed one, but the second one is leaking now. More?
Yes, please.
Welcome to my typical morning in lockdown. This time there is a bit of washing up to do. I start my day by making a cup of raw cacao. I love preparing it with warming spices like cinnamon, cardamom, chili, and drinking it, setting an intention for the day ahead. Quarantine isn't the busiest time in my life, but some days can be emotionally turbulent. I think the new word for it is corona coaster. I make time in the morning to ground, and it helps me to stay centered all day.
I can't get enough of this view that we've got here.
After a few days of glorious heat, the cold days returned, and we pulled out the warm clothes. Such is the unpredictable nature of spring. Last year, we only had flowers and some herbs on the roof. This year though, I'm determined to plant some greens for my salad. The reason I built such a deep planter is to prevent the soil drying out. The steel roof of the boat can get very hot in the summer, so the best chance of growing anything decent is by getting larger and deeper boxes. The plant is looking great, but we need another 2 bags of compost. We could only carry 3 bags from the store in one trip. I'm going to have to wait 1 more week.
So today I wanted to tell you the story of how we ended up with the boat. Back in 2012, I found the concept of tiny houses and I just got obsessed with them. Really wanted to live in one or build one, but trying to find out how it fits within the UK laws. Obviously I don't own any land and I don't know anyone with land here, so I just realised it's not really possible for me at the moment.
Yeah, and we've been going out for 4 years and doing long distance. I was living in Leeds and you were living in London. So like we were at a point where I was ready to move to London. You know, we were looking at huge rent bills, weren't we? I've been obsessed with boats all my life, and I always joke with my mates that I would have a boat one day. They didn't realise it was going to be so soon.
And that it will be a narrowboat.
Yeah, we met up with a friend, we went for a walk down the canal, and we just had this eureka moment where I was able to get my boat and you were able to get your tiny house all in one and not have to pay rent.
I just want to get into one detail before this. So before we even had an idea, because we've been doing long distance and Leeds and London are quite far away.
200 miles.
So we wanted to move in together for ages before then, but we always also looked for something different. For example, we would go away on holiday or we would go to a festival and we'd come back and we would just have this feeling. We just wanted something different.
Holiday blues.
Yes, something more creative, more quirky, but we didn't know what that even all means.
We wanted to add adventure to our 9-to-5 working week. Why do you spend the whole year looking forward to going on holiday? How do we incorporate some of that into our everyday life? All serendipitously happened at the same time, didn't it? When we had this eureka moment, it was all of these things just went, why don't you get a boat? Like, yes, why didn't you think of it sooner?
I did look into narrowboats 4 years before that, but I didn't know much about them and I thought you have to have a mooring, and the only ones I looked in London were hundreds of thousands of pounds because they came with a mooring. I didn't realise the difference. I didn't know anyone with a boat, so I just put it away, that idea. But even this time, we didn't know anyone with the boat.
I'd done a few family holidays on narrowboats. We did Leicestershire to Nottingham, we did Oxford, and then we did the Midi in France. So I knew what I was signing up for. At first I questioned whether you knew what you were signing up for. So I knew what to expect. I knew I had most of this sort of layout and the type of boat we would need kind of figured.
Yeah.
I had spent a lot of nights on Apollo Duck as well, you know, dreaming dreams.
In September we had this eureka moment, end of September 2018. Then we went on straight online and started researching. We've seen hundreds of boats online, and the first we thought that we're going to build one from scratch. The idea of having something brand new, being able to take charge of how everything is going to look like, that's what we wanted. But luckily it all fell through.
Well, we picked a boat builder who we'd found on eBay, and he basically said he could build us a 57-foot boat for 50 grand from new. It was top end of our budget anyway, but that would have got us a boat that was just fitted out. In terms of like ceiling, walls and floors, he was going to put the bathroom in and I think the kitchen, but literally it would be plyboard all round, and we would have then had to finished it ourselves. We did some checks on him and his company passed. And with many people on the canal, you get so many lovely people that are willing to help. But there's also, you know, the canal is able to attract every type of person.
Yeah, we didn't trust him in the end.
And we had to pull out.
We've done some checks. We had a deposit that we lost. It was nothing compared to what we could have lost if things would have gone really, really wrong. And then we kept looking. I went to see a boat in London. I went to see a 57-foot trad boat that looked really small. And I was like, oh my God, I don't know. This is not exactly what I'm looking for.
Did it smell?
It didn't smell. The very first time I went on a narrowboat was January 2018 when we went to the London Boat Show and I walked through a show narrowboat.
And why did we go to the London Boat Show?
And the London Boat Show we went because we went to see Elaine and Riley from Sailing the Vagabond because they were doing a talk there. November is my birthday.
So for your birthday, I found an Airbnb in Oxford and surprised you. And I thought, well, if we're going to do this, we might as well go stay on it for the weekend. I know what I'm expecting, but I'm not quite sure if Marina does. So I booked one. It was quite a bit smaller than what we were looking for. So I thought, yeah, worst case scenario, it can only get bigger. And we had a good time.
We had a great time. It was very romantic. It was very warm. That boat had incredible insulation, had a beautiful side hatch. And another thing we wanted to check out is how wobbly it is on the canal, because I feel like I'm quite sensitive to the movement and I didn't know whether it might be a problem. Obviously it wasn't a problem at all.
We barely move.
No, of course, but even that weekend I experienced the land legs situation where we went on the boat is fine, and as soon as you get on land, then everything starts moving. And that I got that being on the narrowboat for the first maybe week. So that's November.
January, yeah, I'd already quit my job, so we were like looking desperately because I then had the time to be able to move the boat. I decided to take like some time off from working to enable us to view boats, buy a boat, do it up, bring it down. You know, I mean, to travel up and down the country could take, you know, a month or more. I saw a couple really disheartening. One I went into was 5 foot 10 inches like headroom, and I'm 5 foot 11 and a half, and it was a bit like this. I was like, oh my God, is it actually going to be this small?
Yeah.
I think in here we must be about 6'1", so a couple of inches or an inch and a half taller than me, but it's enough to make you feel like you're in a room. Whereas we had some really tall friends come over and a bit like that, but not many. We don't have many tall friends.
We'll allow them to sit down, so it's not a big problem. So yeah, and then in January you found 2 boats in the same marina to have a look at.
Mm-hmm.
And you went to see them. That was in Great Haywood. You went to see them. One was 57 foot.
Yeah.
And then Alba was next to it, 62 foot.
They were next to each other, yeah. Alba's 62 foot, bright purple. Pictures never really do it justice. But I thought, we'll go see it. There's 2 here, 2 birds, 1 stone. And I went on my own at first. So I go see it. Walk through. Literally took like 10 seconds to walk through. And I was like, wow, okay. You know, it had the right layout. The bathroom was where we wanted it to be. Massive bedroom. It just felt right. When I got down to London that night, we said we need to go see this before we go on holiday that evening. So in the morning we went and visited the boat. Literally, Marina, you walked through it in 10 seconds and she said nothing, and then was like,
well, this is
yes,
it.
this is it.
I said, yes, this is it. The reason I didn't say anything, so we walked through the boat, and in the back of my mind, because the only boat I've seen in the last month was a trad. Alba is a cruiser stern, so it doesn't have an engine room.
So on ours, it's under the floorboards. On a trad, you've got like a little bit of an engine room within the boat.
We're walking through the stern, walked through all the way to the bedroom. Obviously, I don't say anything because I'm like, what? Like, I want to see the engine room. And then we get to the bedroom, and I was like, where's the engine room? And then, like, doesn't have an engine room. Yeah, this is it. This is great.
Did we go round the other one first?
Yeah, so we went into the 57 first, and then to this one, and honestly, it's like the world of difference.
Well, no, I think this one was like quite old, for our budget, and it had like its original fit out, so it looked A, tired, B, lived in, you know, a bit old fashioned in its decor. So yeah, it was a bit dingy. And then we went to the big purple dinosaur, yeah.
So yeah, we really loved it straight away and put an offer down.
Okay, well, thanks for watching, you crazy cats and kittens out there. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
If you have any suggestions or comment, do put them down below. Put the notification bell on so you won't miss any videos. That really helps us out as well. So yeah, we're really glad to have you.
Join us next week for an eventful cruise through 8 locks just to get water and empty the bins. It's going to take us all day.